Hey there, Agile Adventurer. Just a quick question. What if, for the price of a fancy coffee or half a pizza, you could unlock over 700 hours of the best Agile content on the planet? That's audio, video, e-courses, books, presentations, all that you can think of. But you can also join live calls with world-class practitioners and hang out in a flame war-free and AI slop-clean Slack with the sharpest minds in the game. Oh, and yes, you get direct access to me, Vasco, your Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. No, this is not a drill. It's the Scrum Master Toolbox membership. And it's your unfair advantage in the Agile world. So if you want to know more, go check out scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. That's scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. And check out all the goodies we have for you. Do it now. But if you're not doing it now, let's listen to the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Team Tuesday. This week, we have the product owner perspective from Njegos Ilic. Hey, Njegos, welcome back.
Hey, Vasco. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So, Njegos, one of the things that we always do here, and it's no different for product owners, is to talk about teams that get themselves into trouble. Because product owners also need to, well, maybe not necessarily directly help, but at least not make it worse for those teams. But before we dive into the team discussion, share with us, what was the book that most inspired you in your career as a product owner?
Yeah, there was a lot of books that really influenced me. But if I had to pick something, like I would pick like the books from the Marty Kagan, actually. And then that's actually...
Which one would you take as the example?
Yeah, I think the first book, I forgot, there was a series, basically 3 books, like Inspired, Transformed, and
Empowered, yeah.
Exactly. Empowered also. Those 3 books are really awesome, and I really like the concepts that were basically laid down in that book. And to be honest, last couple of years, I'm really working in this product setup, product trios, actually, that he is basically preaching and emphasizing, so to say. And I really think it's really powerful, you know.
So tell me a little bit more. Why do you think that the product trio, and you will have to explain what that is for those that perhaps haven't heard it before. Why do you think that product trio is a great way to work for software teams?
I think it's really good concept because it removes this handoff mentality that you usually can see with the teams, because they usually expect you will have a product owner or a product manager who will define all the requirements and stuff, and then designer will design, and then we will just develop whatever we have. Of course, in the process, we will give us some feedback. We will be there, but still, it's not like our cup of tea, so to say. And what I like with product trios is that basically it's it is splitting the software development cycle into 2 distinctive parts, into discovery and delivery. And for example, just in a simple words, while the core of the development team is working on delivering something for the sprint or in whatever setup they are working, you always try to measure stuff that you released. You're trying to check some data. You're doing some interviews with the customers. And then, of course, probably you have some, backlog or whatever, a list of things that are really on the top of your list that you want to actually address with the product. And basically, it is really good to get into the same room, like someone from the technical perspective and from the designer perspective, in order actually to, a little bit shape all of these problems, trying to, make them a little bit digestive for the whole of the team. And then once you come to the team, actually, it's not just you are pitching something, because you always have a counterpart with a tech lead in that regard, someone from the tech perspective who can actually, expand on any of your thoughts. He can really communicate better some of those concepts. That's the main, I think, advantage. And the other advantage is also that you have someone from the team actually who is really understanding why we are trying to build this, why we're addressing this problem. That's really powerful, I think. Ideally, of course, if the company set it up like that, you could include also the whole team into some of these sessions. You can invite them to the user interviews. That's really, top of the notch if you can achieve it. But to be honest, it's not easy, I have to admit. But at least you have to have, someone from the team who is leading or who developers see as their leader, and someone who can at least help you a little bit with the UX, just to give a different perspective. So that's that part. I forgot the other part of the question.
This is great. We were just talking about why Product Trio is so important. But let's move on, because Product Trio is there to help the team. Although sometimes the teams get themselves into problems. So Njegos, tell us the story of a team. Give us a little bit the context, and then tell us the story of a team and what they did. Maybe it was a pattern or behavior that maybe at first it worked, but then it kind of developed and over time created a big problem and eventually destroyed the team.
Oh, tough question, actually. But if I have to pick one thing that I actually mentioned in the beginning of the intro for the Product Trio, I would choose this handoff mentality, to be honest.
So tell us what that looks like in practice.
That looks in practice, basically, you have a workshop, let's say, and you invite these different stakeholders, among them, some of the developers, and, you're setting up the stage, you're, explaining the problem, you're trying to get some feedback, and you just have crickets, and people are basically not...
So they just want to get the fully spec'd out user story, and that's it.
At that point, you don't know that, actually, because it can be a lot of different possibilities, but the common pattern is, once you finish that meeting, for example, and then you have some follow-up meeting maybe for implementation, because you didn't get a lot of feedback or a little bit different perspectives, then you are limited. And that's actually what is the problem, because I really genuinely think that there is no one person who can actually cover all of the, I call it like these blind spots with everything, because you need to have like the team or some counterpart which will challenge you, ask really hard questions, and that way actually you'll become much better product owner, and then you can actually serve the team better. That's what I really generally believe. And basically this kind of mentality, how I call it, is basically they're just used to work like that, and it's really hard to change those personalities. And I think Scrum Master, who is really strong and empowered, can help there. But let me be straight, like, I really don't believe that, you can expect from any Scrum Master to change people's personalities, because otherwise, if they could do that, maybe, I don't know, they could be, like a psychologist or something, and they could share, charge by hour, and, driving a much nicer car that they're driving right now. That's why I'm thinking, setting expectation right is really good. And that's why I think a really strong and good Scrum Master would help to basically making those problems transparent, to let them fail fast, maybe to, try to facilitate something that will help them to understand some things. And that's why I think also with the team and any person, like, failing is really good, because people can only learn what I believe, but they can easily, most easier way learn if they actually, see that it's not working that way, or it's causing some friction, some problems.
Give us a bit of experienced advice, as it were. I'm pretty sure that you've faced this kind of situation several times, and you'll probably face it again in the future. So let's imagine that you're going through one of these situations again, right? Mm-hmm. What would you do differently? What have you learned from your experience as a product owner that helps you in these situations?
I'm really trying, to just always to set the expectation from the beginning really straight.
And how do you do that? Like really practically, how do you do that?
Really practically, I try to, for example, if I'm coming to the new company, for example, and, I just have a title, that this team is having their own processes and their own way of thinking or working. What I'm trying to do is, of course, in some of these meetings, or I schedule some new meetings, I'm really trying to explain them what's my background, how I work. And I'm really trying to, not
How would you explain it? Like, hey guys, I really need your input. You will not get finalized user stories from me. You'll get first lots of questions.
To be fair, it's really stupid way to do it like that. Like, you come to the company and you say, hey, this is my background and this is how I'm expecting for you to work. What I'm trying to do, of course, is I'm just trying to learn how they work actually. And basically to meet the people where they are, because at the end of the day, it's about, accomplishing things together as a team. And then I'm trying to adapt, and I'm trying to find a ways how I can fit all of these concepts into their way of working. If I see that there are some really red lines that are really non-negotiable, in that basically for those things, I'm trying really to be precise, open, and to explain why I think it will create the problems, or at least I'm trying also to provide an alternative, because it's really hard in those environments also to, because it's a discussion. I have an argument, you have an argument. But at the end of the day, it's also about who's responsible for what. So I'm really trying to, to repeat this. So for example, if I'm having a development team and you have, people who are not really interested in all of this, it doesn't matter. I'm inviting them anyway to these kind of workshops and sessions that I'm having. And I'm trying to challenge, hey, what's your opinion, what we can do here? And, that's what I can do. I cannot, again, getting back to that problem, I'm not changing people. I cannot do that. But what I can do, I can involve people. And that's
actually a great way to put it. I can't change people, but I can definitely involve them. Yeah. It's a beautiful way to describe it. Thank you for sharing that, Njegos. All right, I hope you liked this episode. But before you hit next episode, here's the deal. This podcast is powered by people like you, the members who wanted more than just inspiration. They wanted real tools and real connection to people who are practicing Agile every day. We're talking access to over 700 hours of Agile Gold, CTO level strategy talks, summit keynotes, live workshops, e-courses, deep dive interviews, books, and if you're into no estimates, we got the pioneers of no estimates in those deep dive interviews as well. Agile business intelligence, creating product visions, coaching your product owner courses, you name it. You'll get invites to monthly live Q&As with Agile pioneers and practitioners, plus a private Slack community, which is free of all of that AI slop you see everywhere, and of course, without the flame wars. It's a community of practitioners that want to learn and thrive together. It's the best place to connect with community and learn together. So if this podcast has helped you before, imagine what you will get from this podcast membership. So head on over to scrummastertoolbox.org/membership and join the community that's shaping the future of Agile. And we have so much for you. So check out all the details at scrummastertoolbox.org/membership, because listening is great, it's important, but doing it together, that's next level. I'll see you in the community Slack. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.